Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Noisy Sauce here, back with another live stream. Now, this is the first one I've got doing it properly with my boy Travis over here, aka Tiny Vessels. Give us a wave.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo, yo, yo. We got some wine. We got the good times. I'm going to be making a beat for you from scratch. It's going to be a Little Skies type beat, and it's going to be pretty trappy, pretty old school, pretty cool. If you haven't seen me make a beat before, this is how I do it. It is a session that is completely blank. I haven't had any ideas. Actually, I say completely blank. There's a bunch of instruments here. This is my template of sounds that I normally use. I've created this over a little while, but I'm going to be taking this and, yeah, turning it into a beat. I haven't had any musical ideas thought of, so it's going to be a fresh beat. By the end of this stream, which will take about an hour to hour and a half, we're going to have a finished beat. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to get straight into it. Is there anything I've forgotten, Trav, on the...
Nah.
All right. We're going to get straight into it.
We're good.
As long as you remind me when you run out of wine that you got to get a refill from me, because I got the fucking I got the hookup over here. All right.
You can bet your bottom dollar I'll remind you, mate.
Oh, good. All right, let's get straight into it. So first thing I want to do is get a filthy AF bass sound, which we're going to do using an 808. Now, just going to drop this down here. So normally I use this kind of mini 808 sound, which is like coming from a Moog Mini synthesizer. That's the kind of sound we go. But for this one, I want something a little bit filthier. So I'm going to go with a real sample of a real 808 that my Mang Slamming Samples, sorry, I forgot his name, Tim from Slamming Samples, you can get this drum kit for next to nothing. I think he sells it for like $6 for tuned 808s, and they are so good. They're the best 808 samples I've ever heard. He runs them into like an MPC, all analog, really high resolution, and they are just so good. That's the raw 808 sound. They are just... Listen to that. Come on. That is filth right there. That is proper hip-hop filth. So that's the sound we're going to go with, and we're going to create the basis of the beat around that sound. So first thing I'm going to do is add a distortion unit to that, and for that I'm going to use a decapitator, which is my favorite distortion, especially for 808s, because listen to that, come on. Without, with, destroyed. Yeah, it's good. All right, so hear that analog like glitchiness at the end? That's what makes it good. All right, so what I'm going to do is filter it up quite a bit, and then I'm going to drag the mix down a bit. And what that's going to do is mix that really distorted sound that we've got with the drive, but we're going to bring in the low end from the original sound. And I'm also going to run some high cut on the distorted sound to get rid of some of that like real brutal stuff. But that is how you just get like a solid 808 sound. It might even be a little bit too distorted. So I'm going to try one of these. Oh. There we go. And I'm going to bring the mix down even more. One thing that the distortion does that not only does it make it sound nice and filthy, but the other thing that it does for us in a mixing sense is when you're playing through a really small speaker like your laptop or your phone or whatever, you're getting that that distortion coming through because you're not hearing the sub because the speaker can't produce it, but you can still hear what that low end is supposed to be doing because you're getting that distorted harmonic that's coming from the distortion unit. So that's kind of cool. Next thing I want to do is do a velocity processor on this 808 because I don't really want to change the velocities on this. So I'm just going to crank the ratio, crank the makeup gain, and now all our 808s are going to be at full ball, which is what we want. All right, now we better come up with a beat for this. So all right, I'm trying to think of something here. All right, sorry, I'm just trying to think of something here. All right, I think I got a cool bass line here, so that's the one we're going to run with. All right, let's give it a go, see what happens. It's not really high enough. All right, that's all right. We're going to change that to there. All right, let's go. All right, this is a little bit too slow, this beat, so I'm going to speed it up a bit, see how it sounds. All right, and I also think this overall tone that we're at is a little bit low. I don't want to go up an octave, but I just want to change the key to something that fits this tone a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. So I went from D sharp to G sharp, so up a fifth on that whole thing. All right, we somewhere now, and we're gonna take it a little bit further. Sip. All right. Next thing I want to do is shorten the length of these 808s. They're cool, but they're a little bit too long. So what I'm gonna do there? Oh shit! I just did something. Ah, that's cool. Is I'm going to select all of these samples. This is in battery, by the way, so if you're not using battery, you might have to find another way of doing this. And hit the volume envelope. Now I want to drag the attack down to 0 because we don't want to change the attack at all. And then we can change what the hold and the decay is. So that's cool. So before, it's almost the same. Oh no, it's because I'm not changing anything. Here we go. This is before when it was just really long, and now it's a bit tighter there. All right, that's cool. They're filthy 808s. just did something. All right, one thing I want to do with this 808 now is just compress it a little bit because those attacks are coming through quite hard. So I'm just going to slam it a little bit with a compressor, and the one I want to use for this is the API 2500. Pretty standard compressor for drums. I'm going to keep the attack not too long, not too short, and drop the release as quickly as possible. And then that's tightened it up a little bit. I even dropped it. Yeah, it's tightened it up nice. All right, cool. So it punches a little bit less. All right, cool. I do like the punchiness, but when we get that into a mix setting, that's going to destroy the mix a little bit. It'll be hard to get that sounding cool. All right. Now we're going to get some claps. I mean... All right. Yeah, that's cool. I love it when things come easily. Let's do it. Cool. Really simple, really chill. Good clap there. Oh, what's happening there? All right. All right. Now we're going to get a couple of cymbals happening. All right. Cool. There's a little bit of add-on there. I'm going to get some trap hats going on here. Now this is where stuff's going to get real gangster, because we're going to throw down some 30-second note triplet hats. And if you've seen me make a beat before, you've probably seen me use 30-second note triplet hats before. Because they just sound so gangster. So that's a little bit too hectic. All right. For the rest of the beat. Need another hat. Just adding like an overall beat to the background. Oh shit, no, that's not the right place. I want to... Now, we got a bit of movement with the hats because we got some stuff coming in different places. I'm going to move the trap hats to the right a little bit. Oh, I just realized our rights and lefts are backwards. Can you do me a favor, Trav, and just pan those the opposite direction?
Flippity flip those.
Just give them a little flip there.
That's done.
Sweet. All right, let's see if that's right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry if that was a bit confusing. All right, let's have a listen to that. All right, so all right. So now we're going to go into our battery here. And this hat here is our main one. I'm going to turn that down a little bit because it's a little bit hectic. All right. Now, there's a little trick I like to do when you want your hats to have a little bit of movement is go into your modulation. There's different ways of doing this on different things. Within battery, it's quite easy. I like to turn my sync off. No, sorry, that's a lie. I like to turn my sync on. I like to turn my retrigger off and turn the frequency to... I like to go 3 because it's gives it a bit of an odd number. I don't like things to be too predictable. We're running off the low frequency oscillator and we are going to be working on the pan. And what we're going to do is drop that way down. And what that's going to do is it's going to slowly pan that hi-hat left to right. And just give it some movement. Because the hi-hat's stereo already, it doesn't move all the way. It kind of swaps the position of the panning, so it doesn't sound like it's like right going all the way to the left or right, but you still get that vibe of it like not staying in one position. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look at the 808s again because they are a little bit too distorted in my view. So I'm just going to turn the mix down. Damn, it's kind of cool. Just going to check where we're at on the frequency. I mean, that's kind of perfect right there. What are we gonna do next? Sip. I always like to have my snares or claps or whatever to have a little bit of reverb to them. So right now it's quite dry. I don't like that reverb. It's a little bit too, I don't know, long for this kind of beat. This beat's a little bit more upbeat right now. So I'm going to have something a little bit more roomy. And the way I'm going to do that is move this over to a Verb Suite Classic. This is a Slate reverb. Already sounds really good. Bust out the wideness a bit. Chorus to give it a bit of vibe. Man, what Slate have done with this plugin is mint because they've made the preset that the first opening reverb that you get just so good that you can just open up the plugin and it works amazingly well on most things. I freaking love this reverb. Actually, I'm thinking about maybe changing my standard drum reverb to this one. It's pretty good. Listen to that.
Damn.
What do you think, Trav?
I like it a lot.
Are you out of wine? Damn, that's on.
I am.
All right, wait. I gotcha. There you go.
Thank you, fam.
No worries. Do you want to see Trav do a close-up of him pouring the wine?
I can do that for everybody.
Oh,
I know they want to see me spill this on
my God.
my phone, my MacBook, my life.
This could ruin the entire stream right now.
We good.
We good.
We
All right.
good.
All right. Let's get back to
Do you want the
making
wine
music.
back? Yeah, you need it. It looks badass on that desk right there, man.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Product placement. I hope we get money for that.
Oof.
I didn't even say the name of the place, and it's probably such low streaming quality that you can't see it. Oh, we're doing 1080, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
She's good.
That reverb. All right, so I'm going to drop the decay down so it's not quite as long. And we're just going to drop the level of that down a little bit. Also, this is just me. I like my claps dark, so I'm just going to pull out some of the highs on this guy. Cool. That is a good beat right there. I'm pretty happy where that's at right now in terms of the drums. So we're going to move on to some other instruments. Now, the first instrument I want to try is a sample that I found the other day. It's not a sample, it's an instrument. Was that thunder? The instrument I found the other day, it was in the Anna synthesizer. Now, this is by Sonic Academy. This synthesizer is really, really cool. It's super versatile. You've got heaps of different sounds you can get. It's got lots of presets to play with. It comes free with the Slate bundle if you want to get Slate subscription. This is one of the cool benefits you get is this 6 synthesizer. But I just, my favorite thing about it is it's got this little trap section here, and that makes me think that it's going to have lots of cool trap stuff, which it does. And one of the sounds I heard the other day was this piano, which is super dank and detuned and filthy, and I just fucking love it. So we got a melody right there. We're just going to use that. All right. We're going to play with this a little bit. So it's a little bit high, so I'm going to drop this down an octave. No, actually, keep it up the octave. I dig the sound, but we're going to have to play with it a bit. First things first is I'm going to have to I'm going to have to re-quantize this to 16th notes because I can't play. I got to fix my crappy playing. Apologies, friends. I'm not a very good musician, it turns out. I just make beats. Alright. First things first, it's too loud. Second problem is it's got way too much high end. So I'm going to put this 1-knob filter in here. Just going to drag that out. third problem is it's not filthy enough. So we're going to throw some saturation on this thing. One really cool saturator I like to use sometimes is the NLS channel by Waves. And what this has got is it's got 3 different mic pre's that you can use, and you just crank that all the way up. It gives it like a really cool stereo saturation that's without it. Just gives it a little bit of character. Turn down a little bit, it's clipping a bit there, but that's cool. All right. Sorry, I'm just getting ideas in my head. Organ. All right. One problem I have with my electric piano is I don't like this note. I think it could be this note. Yeah, it's better. I was doing the major third instead of the fourth, and it did not sound good. All right. Especially now that I'm going to be playing this chord, which is just a straight minor chord. What just happened? My thing shut down. I don't know why it shut down.
Oof.
But it shut down. All right.
Oof.
Don't know what went on there. So I'm just going to open... I'm going to open that again and hopefully... Auto-saved. We didn't lose too much. Damn.
The joys.
The joys of making a beat live. This never happens, he says.
I swear.
I swear. Ignore that. Oh, man, I did not lose anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shall we take back to the... Do you want to full screen that?
Oh, yeah. Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's
All right, full
my
screen.
man. All right, here we go.
Sip.
We're back.
All right, we're back. All right. Organ. Don't freeze on me. All right, let's do this. 2. Whoa. All right, we need something else. Almost. I almost just like that. Yeah, let's do that. No. Let's try that. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. shit, that can be fixed. Oh my god. Trav, the guy running the Vision stuff is a much better musician than me. I should get him playing this.
Nah, mate. I'm working.
Oh, fucking hell. Alright, I know what you're thinking. That sounds so boring. And you're right, it is very boring. But what we're going to do is... I'm just dragging the ends of these. Actually, I should do this properly. I shouldn't mess about. I'm going to MIDI transform and go quantize note length and to one thingieth of a thingy there and operate. I didn't do it. Maybe I want one thingy for this thingy. Operate. No, that's not right. 0, 1, 0. Nope. Nope. I just want this one at 1. No. I want that one at 0. And I want this one at fucking hell. 1, 0. Operate. Bam. There we go. Alright, quantize note length. If you're using Logic, that is how you quantize the note length. Next up. Alright, so that's boring, real boring. Don't like that sound, but I just wanted that paddy thing so I could then destroy it using my various modulation. Now, the first one I'm going to try is this Sigmund thing by D16 Group. Now, this is a multi-effects, just destruction unit. Love it. It's got a whole bunch of different like loops and sounds and just really cool stuff that you can use to... I'm just going to solo this for a bit. Alright, let's talk about this. That piano sounds shit. That sounds better. Sorry guys, I ran you through that whole piano thing for nothing. I'm going to filter this piano. It may have sounded good before, but now I've got this synth in there. I don't like it. It kind of clashes a bit too much. So I'm going to saturate this piano with a bunch of Abbey Road reverb. All right, we're going to keep moving on. I've got this idea in my head of something I want, but I don't know how to create it. All right, that sounds good. That's it. All right, that's what I want. I'm just going to delete this middle section here because it was trash. And then I've got to figure out what I would play there and make it not terrible. Because I played it really badly. And I also got to join these and this all together as one big thing so I can play it around later. I just like to keep everything in blocks so that they're easy copy and pasted later when I'm doing stuff. Why does that sound good? Because that's the wrong one. Where's that other one? Where's that other drum? What are you doing? Where is it? I did it somewhere else. Okay. There we go. All right. Next step. So this is a bunch of stuff I've done here. Extra little percussion group thing here. So all of this, what's happening here, is coming through one little section. So I'm going to put them all in the percussion bus. All right, so what I'm going to do is take these, change their output, because I've got all these running to different outputs. I'm going to direct them out into bus 5 and 6. And the same with this guy here, output bus 5 and 6. And I've got, that is my percussion bus here. And that's just mostly for convenience because now I can take that bus and do whatever I want to it and give it like a bit of flavor on its own without messing up any of the other drum sounds that we got going. What I'm going to do to it is pretty much give it a lo-fi vibe, and what I'm going to use for that is Kilohertz Effects. They've got this is a brand that does all these types of plugins, lots of different filters and stuff. They got this really cool one called Multipass, which splits the bands of your, like you can do any kind of 5-way multi-band processing, and then you can run processors on each one of those bands, as well as a processors in the start and at the end. So it is super versatile. Really dig it. Slate have a whole bunch of cool samples that you can use with it. The one that I will want to go with is this lo-fi pitcher, which tends to have a really cool sound to it. So let's have a listen to that. It's a little bit too hectic. I'm gonna try something a little bit less intense for that. Let's try a few of the distorted plugins. That's kind of cool. Just gonna turn it down a bit. Turn up the reverb on that one a little bit. Bit more. Bit less. That kind of puts it in the background a bit. And the reason I processed all that as one is another thing is I wanted that little section to sound like its own part that's kind of separate from the rest of the drums. So it's got its like own little lo-fi vibe to it that the snare, kicks, and all the cymbals don't really share, which is kind of cool. Wine. Moving on.
What's up?
Mate, you're out of wine over there, mate.
I know, it's going down like water, mate.
Lickety split. There you go.
Damn. Oh, thanks, fam.
All right. While he's filling up, we're just going to keep on going here.
Let me just chuck you back to that.
All right, my organ's a little bit high here. I know it looks low, but I want this low back in the background. Listening to this, I also want to add another snare drum to that that clap track that we got running as our main clap. And the reason being is that I want that low mid thud that is not in that clap, but we can probably get from a snare drum. So I'm going to just play around with a few different snare drum sounds, and I kind of know which one I want to go with because I'm always looking for this low mid sound. So that's the snare I'm going to be playing with, but I'm going to show you. You can see I've been searching for snares. I'll find the snare that I know I'm going to want to get, and that is 707 X2. That's the one. That's my baby. I'm going to just bring up the just going to go over to my mixer over here. Bring up this guy. This is showing what's going on with my mix. And you can see that low mid 150 to 180, that big thud around here is really present on this snare particularly, which is exactly what I want out of this snare. Now, with that, it's very, very present. So I'm going to bring the overall volume of this snare down. And then take out some of the high end because it is a little bit much. So I'm just going to turn the thing. Low pass is not what I want. I want a 3-band EQ and band 3. I want to. Oh, actually no, that's not what I want. I want a shelf. Where's my shelf? Solid G EQ. Here we go. So highs. I want to just pull out the highs and pull it down to pretty much as low as it can go. That just adds like, so that's with it. That's it without it. Just missing all that nice low end. I'm going to turn down even more because I don't need that much. It's just now, one thing that is a result of what we've just done there is that that clap and that snare are a little bit separated from each other. And the way to kind of combine them, I find, is to either add distortion or compression, saturation or compression. For this one, I'm going to use compression. Going to use the Kramer Pi, which is a really cool drum compressor. that I like to use a lot. It's just got lots of flavor to it. It adds a punch. Makes him. Oh, let's get rid of that damn click. We don't need that anymore. Yeah. So you can hear that kind of combines them together. A bit more. Adds a little bit more punch too. Although, now I've said that, I do also want to add a bit of saturation. Damn. What saturation, you ask? Let's try the sausage fattener. I bought this a while ago. I've used it a couple of times, and I've seen a lot of trap dudes use this. I just like the look of it. Watch the sausage. Just filth. Ah, there we go. Ah, okay. I haven't played with it that much. That's a lot of gain. I think a lot of people like it because they crank up the fatness and it just adds a whole bunch of gain, and then their shit gets distorted to hell.
It's real cool though. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's a cool plugin. It's yeah, kind of very simple. I think it's just a saturator, but I bought it for quite cheap, and I don't know, it works.
Hell yeah.
It's cool on vocals actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, although you can lose a lot of your low end if you put it on vocals, so you got to be careful.
Looks cool though, like
yeah, it's
visually
cool.
stimulating, if you will.
There's two plugins that trap guys like to use, and it's this one, and I think the other one's a purely Fruity Loops one. It's like the Sound Goodizer is the name of it, and they just put it on everything. Just Sound Goodizer, master bus, everything. Just make it sound good.
Hell yeah.
Anyway. Alright, I need a synth. I need a motherfucking synth. Yeah, my synth is load. Synth's got to load sometimes. I'm hearing an offbeat, kind of softish bell. I don't want that bell though. I want something that's like a little bit darker. So I'm gonna find something in Arturia. I'm gonna use the CMI. It's a really cool synth based off like the first sampling synthesizer ever made. Arturia make some amazing synthesizers. They got like heaps of stuff, and I'm going to see if they got a good bell here. I just like this, the sounds that this synth has, because it's just like they're so analog-y. No. All right, here we go. All right, that is what we're going to play, and I'm not going to forget it. I swear. I got to go back to my other... I've gone back to being a dog. That's all right. We'll figure this out. That's one. No, that's not right. Alright, that's it. Yeah, whatever. You're gonna need to play it good once.
Yo, we have someone that's just hit our chat up.
Oh, yeah?
He might have hit it up a while ago, but I can't see timestamps.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "What's up? It's DJ Eternal."
Hey, DJ
And he
Eternal.
said, "How are you, Noisy?"
Doing good, man. How you doing? I know that's going to take about 23 seconds for it to get from me to him, so keep me in the loop with what he says.
I will.
Hey, how's my playing? Feel like I should have that, what the truck drivers have on their trucks. How's my driving? How's my playing? We're going to have to throw a at the back of this. Now, this says trap hats, and no matter how many times I relabel it to snare, it thinks it's hats. Nope. No, I'm gonna try and figure out. All right, those are some tune trap snares. We're going to bust up the reverb real high on those. And throw them, yeah, way back, way in the background. They're going to act as a turnaround. That's cool. All right. We've got a good spot. What time are we at?
We are at. Sorry.
I
Turn
don't know.
my mic back up. Sorry. 56 minutes.
56 minutes. All right, cool. Oh, shit, that's long. All right, we're going to start arranging. But that's cool. We can take our time. We can take our time. We can take our time.
You take your time, man.
We'll take our time. Sip. All right. So now we're going to start arranging this because I've got like all the basics of this guy. I'm going to keep this beat quite simple because I ain't about making things too complex, especially because you don't want to create something that a rapper doesn't have any space to sit on top of, I believe. So, all right, bass. Filthy. Oh, I was just ready for a big sound. Filthy. That's what I want. That's so dirty. Filth. That bass has got to come down a bit. It's a bit hot, but that's cool. All right. From here, we got to figure out where we're going with this beat because we've put everything in. We know what's happening. I feel like we're going to end up back with the snare that we started with. That's cool. That works. Got a bit of percussion. Cymbals we're going to keep. We're going to keep the trap hats out for now, because instead of the trap hats, we're going to run a kick. What you say? A kick instead of trap hats? That's right. That's the kick we're going to use. Real simple. What did I record that on? I recorded that on the cymbal track. Stupid. Alright, I'm going to re-record it on the kick drum track. Now, you might think that sounds a little bit dry, but I assure you, when I bust it into the next section and the bass comes in that we created at that intro bit, it's going to sound sick. And a little bit something like this. So here we are, end of the section. Still loud as fuck. I'm gonna turn that down more. From this bit here, I want to have a bit of a break. I don't know how that's going to work, but I want it to kind of lo-fi out. All right, I tell you how it's going to work. I'm going to double up this piano. So it's got similar settings to what I had before. Put the same thing here, except I'm going to add, just before the reverb, a pitch shifter plugin called Little Alter Boy. And on this guy, I'm going to bust the pitch up an octave and the form it and see how that sounds. Alright, actually I'm going to run that before the filter as well, because it needs to filter out all those harsh frequencies. We need a breakbeaty type sample here. I'm going to find one somewhere in here. I know it. And I'm going to lo-fi the shit out of it. And I liked. I really like these circuit breaker ones. I'm gonna use that one. Let's try that one. And we're going to keep the snares rocking throughout the majority of this as well. So no, we're not. Sounds trash. All right, that's cool, but I also need some like weird noise underneath because it's boring right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this synthesizer from Contact, and it's called Kinetic. And what that's got is a bunch of noises that I'm just going to start off by running the by running the electric piano into that synth that I'm talking about. There. And so Kinetic Metal, sorry, is the name of it. And it's got all these different sounds, which are just, man, they are so much to get through. I wouldn't even know where to start, but I just like to just start playing with the ones I like the sound of. So Rusty Pipes, like the sound of that. Let's see what that sounds like. Here. This is without it. Boring. This is with it. Drums come in about now. And then we go back into our main section, I guess, which is the chorus, I would assuming. Something isn't right there because it's not crunching as hard as it probably should. I'm going to turn the circuit, these drums down a little bit more, because they're not that. Now I'm going to cheat and copy the same thing I did before across again. Let me just enter this full screen here. All right, 1, 2. All right, they're both in full screen. One thing I'm just going to do with the kick before I go any further is turn it... Oh, don't do that. I turned them all down. Just turn the kick down a little bit because it's a little bit hectic in this section. And I'm also going to turn the reverb up a little bit. A lot of people say don't use reverb on kick drums. And to that, I say, fuck you, I'll do what I want. Reverb on kick sounds sick.
Absolutely.
Fight me.
The 80s, man.
Yeah, I know. Oh, when that bass hits. Just a sneaky top up, guys. Something about that ending there is just not fucking good enough. And I don't know what it is. I think it's that it runs too long. I'm just going to cut this off. Tell you what it is. It needs a riser. Where are we at? It needs a riser just after that finishing section there. And that riser needs to go into a big kind of strike. Both of which we can make happen. So where are we at here? So we need to bring this back, bring the beat back. Make sure that that's good there. Okay, cool. And so first hit's got to really come in with something. I got this, this is a plugin I use quite a bit. It's by Contact. It's called Action Strikes. comes with a whole bunch of like cinematic hits that oof. Oh. I think that's the one there. Too epic, you say? I say it's not epic enough. Stupid lucky, I hit it twice. So, too much, yes, it is a little bit too loud. I'll admit it. Hopefully... not loud enough. Alright. Just gonna... Only thing I don't like about it is there's a little bit too much highs and high mids in this. So I'm just going to EQ them out using a EQ, funnily enough. This one is cool and does the job. Bam. Let's see how that sounds. Almost too much. I like that one. We're going to use that one. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, that's it. Sorry guys, this is the process of making a beat. Subdrops for men. Alright, cool. Let's see how that sounds in the transition here. I like that. Alright, cool. I dig that. I dig that. Let's move on to the next section. So we're going to have a little break here. We're going to have a little chill. This is... So we've got what I assume to be chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. The next logical step is bridge. So I'm going to take it a little bit different here. Throw a bell. Going to throw this bell down an octave. And copy it across to the start of each second bar, or first bar of 2. And have that kind of start the riff here. Actually, got to drop it for the second one. Have the 808s come in, they fire. No, not the 808s. We want to have that dirty bass come in halfway through this. Snares coming in. Trap hats. And also cymbals for the next bit. So I'm trying to do this on the fly. Oh, and also that percussion thing that's really cool. And then, bam, we drop that into yeah, that's fire. About 4 minutes now. This is a long beat. That's just what it is. So I'm just going to finish it off with this. No. That's not. What? No. Last note can go. And that is the end of the beat right there. Cool. That is pretty cool. Lots of stuff going on. I'm going to now go through and delete all of the channels that I don't use right now because they are just taking up space in my processing, and that ain't no fun for a computer that is already being worked pretty hard. So give me some time. Gonna get rid of the rise and hits. Gonna keep that and get rid of. I know we need the bass. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Do need to be
throwing some sauce on that beat.
My beat tag, gotta have that. And that is pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is everything's kind of nice and loud, not peaking anywhere. And I'll show you how I do that. It's a pretty basic master, but it works. So I'm just going to loop this through. So we can hear that, we can see especially this hi-hat here is triggering some pretty high frequencies and needs to just come down a little bit. One thing I'm just going to do quick with this piano is change the velocity curve on it because it's all a little bit low for me. Just to even out my playing a bit because I'm not the best player. That's cool. That's cool. And what I'm trying to do here is see if we play the full beat. Seems to be a gap around this area here. And that's kind of where the piano is supposed to be sitting, but it doesn't really have that much space there. Kind of peaks a little bit. What I might do here is on the piano channel add a multi-band compressor, and this is just to bring up some of that low mid when it's not happening, but not let it go too high when it is happening. So the one I'm going to use for that is I think I'm just going to use C6, which is by Waves, pretty decent unit, and I'm going to bypass all of the channels except for this low mid one here. That's this one. I want it to sit from about 200 to about 700. Pretty decent range there, and I'm going to crank the gain on that, but then also drop the threshold quite a bit. So we're just going to still something going on there that I'm not a big fan. Oh, actually, I should run that before the reverb. I just realized. And I also, even though I've got reverb, I also want to add a delay to this as well. So I'm going to add my favorite delay, which is the H delay. This is by Waves. And I'm going to ping pong this bad boy. Drop the dry and wet to about, well, we'll have a listen. Analog. Drop the low pass quite a bit. Not that it's going to make that much difference because we've already gotten rid of a lot of that. And lo-fi it. Always does that. There we go. Now we're filling out that low mid range quite well. Cool. Now it's got a little bit more meat to it overall. I'm going to drop that dry and wet down a little bit more because I don't want it too much in the mix. Now, keeping on this mastering circuit. So you'll see I added a little bit of that low mid. I got rid of this section a little bit. This is where the vocals kind of sits around this 1 to 5K range. So I've pulled a little bit out there because I found it was a little bit too harsh. And yeah, that's all I've done. And a standard of my mastering circuit is that I get rid of, I drop off a lot of stuff, pretty much, what does it say, 20K. And it jumps a little bit higher than that, but you're really only getting rid of whatever's under 20 hertz, which you don't hear anyway. So yeah, that's cool. Next up, I got this compressor. This is FG Grade. This is by Slate Digital, and it is a fairly good sounding compressor. It is based off the famous SSL bus compressor. I'm not running this very hard at all. As you can see, the ratio is quite low. It's only at 2 to 1. Threshold's quite low. Very slow attack, medium release, and I'm not affecting much of anything under 50 hertz. And this just kind of evens everything out a little bit without being too hectic for it. I don't want to do any heavy processing. That is for the mastering engineer. This is just to kind of get the beat at a usable level. So keep that in mind. This isn't proper mastering. This is just getting the beat kind of sounding cool. So as you can see, not doing too much here. Maximum, I don't think it's even hitting 3 dB reduction. So maximum 3 dB at the highest levels, not much at all. Finally, we've got a clipper. Now this guy is like a limiter, but it instead of pulling down the signal when it hits it, it just straight cuts it. Does it? There's like a bit of analog processing in here. It does it in a bit more of a musical way, so you don't get that dank analog clipping sound. But it's a bit different to a limiter. I like the sound of it, and I use it on masters instead of using a limiter. I just like the sound of it more. So again, about 1 decibel reduction at most. This is mostly just to get the level of the track to a nice spot and kind of take off those peaks at the very top. If I was to run this really hot, you would be hearing it. And it would get some distortion happening, which I don't really want to do because I value mine and Trav's ears and also all of you. So, oh shit, what did I do there just then?
We thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice level there, no clipping. That's that primo shit. And just check that EQ again. Oh, look at that. That little gap there, that dip, that's what I call the vocal dip.
Yeah.
I don't actually call that. That's the first time I've said that.
It sounded legit.
Yeah, that's the vocal dip. If you're EQing a track, I said this last time, but if you're EQing a track that, like a full track with vocals, you kind of want all of the frequencies to be relatively even. I mean, you can have peaks and stuff here and there for different instruments, but you kind of want this whole thing to be fairly flat. Because we are just doing a beat and the vocals do sit around this 1 to 5K range, usually, that's like where you understand, that's where your hearing kind of picks up the most most, what am I trying to say?
You're trying to say the frequency range of speech.
That is the frequency range of speech, but it's also where your ears pick up detail. And if you're taking up all that detail range with other instruments, a vocal will sound, you can't really understand what they're saying. You might even hear the vocal, but everything will sound kind of muffled and weird. So when you're making a beat, you got to leave a lot of space here. Otherwise, you're taking up that space that a vocal is going to sit, and when someone tries to rap over it, nothing will sound good. So look at that.
Man, that's beautiful.
So much room.
I can hear you so clearly right now because of the amount of space created.
If I could rap, I would spit you some bars.
Don't be shy.
Oh, you know I won't. Yeah, check. So, yeah. No, that's not happening. Stupid. No, okay, that's cool. Yeah, so there's a little tip for you. That's a mixing tip as well as a beat making tip. That one was for free, actually.
Oh.
If you want any more, it's going to cost you. Not really. Okay, that is a beat done. I'm pretty happy with where we're at now. So we are going to bounce this out, but first we're going to have a listen to it from start to finish right now. And I'm just going to jump through a lot of the instruments that, like a lot of the instrumental tracks and all that, so you can kind of see what's going on. If you like what you hear and you want to buy it, this guy is called Kayla, and it's a Little Skies type beat. This is going to be released tonight, if you're watching it, in about an hour's time, on my Beatstars page, which I will give a link to it as soon as I can. It will be released in about an hour after this stream stops, maybe even less. So if you're digging this beat, you want to buy it, it'll be $30 for basic leaks, and you can have it and drop some sweet raps on it. It's called Kayla. It's a noisy source beat. It's Little Skies type. If you want to check it out, that's the place. And if you want to check it out right now, I'm going to play it start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Here you go.
Throwing some sauce on that beat.
this session, I'm going to do a little bit of plugging up in here. So, first thing I want to plug is where I got those 808s from. I told you about it. It is Slamming Samples. So if you go to slammingsamples.com. Do I have internet? Do I have internet?
You should.
Yeah, I do.
Should definitely.
All right, and sample packs. He has. So this is my mate, and he spends his. Oh, don't want to do that. He spends his whole life, well, his spare time, I guess, collecting really cool old analog gear, and spends a lot of time sampling it. And so you can see he's got Poly 800 into the MPC, 808s into SP 1200, all these really cool sample packs, and I'm pretty sure they go for like $1 to, I think he's like $6 is the most, and they are sick samples. The ones that I use are the 16 levels tuning TR-808 sampled into MPC 60. I use a lot of his other samples too, but for those sweet 808s, I use that, and they sound awesome. So I recommend it. Pick them up. Now, if you want to get my beats, this is where you're going to have to go to find it. It is www. I've got Rhyme Zone up there because I've been writing some shit. Beatstars.com/noisy source, I think. Yeah, that's it. Beatstars.com/noisy source. And that is where you will find this beat. Go there.
Or be square.
Or be And right now, this is the top track, but pretty soon the top track is going to be Kira? What's the name of this
Kayla.
one? Kayla. I don't even know the names of my own beats. The top track will be Kayla, and that is the one we made today, and that is where you can buy it, and that is where you should buy it. Buy my stuff. Help me live, please. All right, guys, I'm going to call it there. That is the end of the beat. Anything I'm missing? Questions?
No. Sorry, yeah. Old mate didn't reply.
All right, well, that's fine.
So that's fine.
Well, if you guys want to ask some questions, I am willing to answer anything about beat making, processing, mixing, mastering, anything you want to know. Hit me up on any of my socials. I will get to you. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. Catch you next time.
Hell yeah. Should we play the beat on the way out?
Oh, yeah, let's play the beat on the way. Let's
Hell
just.
yeah. We'll do a little bit of a fade out, but this is a nice send off.
Oh, no, we're
Hell yeah. Send that magic.